Hello and welcome. I'm going to give everyone just a few seconds here to join on in. Hi, good evening. My name is Allie Bowles and I work in admissions here at Morgan Park Academy. I have a panel of some really excited MPA teachers, administrators, and my admissions teammate, Yvonne, on this call as well as an MPA student. So you're going to hear from teachers from our English department, our science department, math department, foreign language, and also hear about our global studies program. And then also chat with our principal and assistant principal of the upper school. So if you have any questions at all during the presentation, go ahead and utilize that chat function. My admissions partner, Yvonne, will be working the chat function as we go through the presentation. So I'm going to get ready to share here our presentation so you can take a peek at our upper school. And again, if you have any questions or anything, utilize that chat and there'll be time at the end again to go over any questions that you might have. So at this point here, all right, I would like to introduce Tom Drahazel to you. He's the upper school principal.
Hi, everybody. The upper school principal here. Next year will be my 34th year at Morgan Park Academy. So I've been there through quite a bit of long times of history and different things that have happened throughout. You know, obviously what we just endured was probably one of the more interesting and challenging times for everybody. But our school, we got through the last quarter here. The high school did do remote learning and the parent response to it was very positive. So we can go ahead and start to share some of the things about our upper school on the presentation. For high school, we believe it's one of the more transformative times in individuals' lives. It's a period of learning facts, but also developing into independent thinkers. And that's one of the big points we emphasize with our students is being independent thinkers, thinking outside of the box, also advocating for themselves as well. And this is a picture of the class of 2019 before graduation ceremony. And for our mission statement, we engage the whole child, we inspire independent learner, and also prepare the global leader for tomorrow to make a positive difference in the world. With our student life, it is just not just academics. We have academic competitions and clubs. The academic competitions are geared towards STEM programs. We have an athletic program. We compete in the IHSA, so we do compete in state series, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. In the fine arts, we do have visual arts as well as performing arts. The house system is kind of something unique to our school as well. And we offer assemblies when we're able to do those as far as to help educate the student body and a chance for a community to get together. And then we do have a service requirement. For all of the students in the upper school, they have an 80-hour community service requirement that they have to perform by the time they graduate. Some students have already met that time. Others, you know, they will whittle away with it 20 hours a year. The school provides 10 hours a year through programs that we offer at the school as well. Sports, what we believe is, you know, there's a role for everybody on our team. Our teams are small, and one big advantage of a smaller school is students get to play more than one sport. When you get to a bigger school, many times after freshman year, they tell students you got to pick a sport, and that's what you have to stick with for the whole time. As a smaller school, we do not have that luxury that some of the bigger schools have, but it's also an advantage because it allows students to play more than one sport, which all studies show reduces injuries by playing multiple sports because you're not working the same muscle group all the time. So by students playing more than one sport or participating in one, it's proven to be quite well for us. And there are some of our basketball programs. Our girls basketball team won the regional championship this year. They set a record for the school for 22 wins. They had 22 wins and 7 losses for the season. So they had a very nice season. And our volleyball team also was a regional champion as well. And that's our volleyball team after they won their regional championship. For us, we participate in the Independent School League. And that means we participate against other private schools, but we also play a non-conference schedule where we'll play public schools or charter schools as well. Some of the schools in our conference are the University of Chicago Lab School, Francis Parker, and the Latin School of Chicago, and then some of the other suburban independent schools. For us in the fall, we have girls tennis, and then we also have, as far as boys soccer and girls volleyball. The winter season, we have basketball, boys and girls. In the spring, girls soccer, boys tennis, and baseball is what we offer for our students. Okay, now we can advance. Okay, arts. Mrs. Drown, would you like to pick up something there with arts for us?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Drown and this will be my 20th year going into Morgan Park Academy. So I have seen a lot and taught a lot. I currently am the assistant principal and I also teach the physics classes. So I'm going to share a few things with you. Start with talking about the visual and performing arts that we have and our assemblies and special programs that we have. So this is a shot from our spring musical that we did. We did the musical Chicago, the high school edition. And I know that several of the faculty that are on this call tonight, that they were also there in attendance, and it was just a wonderful performance. We try to incorporate lots of different students, and just like Mr. Drohazel was talking about for the sports, that for our visual arts and performing arts programs, we need kind of everybody to play a role again. So it's really kind of a unique bunch. We have people that play sports and they're part of the plays, and they play in the band, they're part of the chorus. So we really do encourage our students to take a role in many different parts of student life. And that's a scene from the finale. In our visual arts here, we've got, that's Miss Block. She's not on the call tonight. But she works with our upper school students in drawing and painting and also ceramics. And as you can see from the space there, that we've got a lot of time and space for one-on-one attention in our visual arts. And it's really nice because students are allowed to kind of grow at their own pace and develop their talents in the avenue and arena, which is best for them. So you can see on the left there, Ms. Block again talking to one of her students in the visual arts. And then we've got another student on the right who is working on one of his paintings in her classes. For clubs, organizations, and academic competitions, we have a bunch of them. We're not going to list every single one that we have. This shot in particular is from our ICTM team, which is the Illinois Council Teachers of Mathematics team. And you can see we've got a really large group of students that are interested in that co-curricular. It started about 3 years ago, and the program has just really developed. Ms. McAllister is probably going to be talking a little bit more about that when she talks about math tonight. But they have been very successful. It is a very unique type of competition where there's opportunities for everyone from freshmen through seniors, and they can be parts of different grade level teams and also different specialty area teams. So a lot of success there. This is a picture, I think we'll see it again later when I talk about physics. Just an example of our students working collaboratively in their science class to come up with some lab solutions. And then this picture is from our robotics team. They annually participate in about 3 to 5 competitions every year. And they have different tasks that they're supposed to complete and make sure that they can do whatever task that machine is supposed to do. This is just a sample of them in their the maker space that we have down in one of our academic buildings. You can see they're all busy working to make that machine do what it has to do.
Okay, and this is Project Week, which I know Dr. Zhao is going to talk about a little bit later when she gets into her piece. But you know, global education and the global experience is something that is very important to our school. And like I said, this is one of our trips from 2 years ago when we took a group of students to Hawaii. And there's always a curricular connection to it. So like Mrs. Drown was on that trip. So we did have a science connection to it. We saw the aquarium, and then including, I have a history background myself as well in the classroom. So we did do some of the history too with the EILEEN Palace in Pearl Harbor and things. So there was a curricular connection to all of our trips. And in the past, we visited 18 countries, and it goes on for that. And as far as self-advocacy, like I mentioned in my earlier remarks, that's something we really promote. Small class sizes, no student can hide in a classroom. You know, you can definitely speak for yourself is what we encourage them to do. They develop a relationship with their peers and with their teachers. And there are so many of our students that years after they graduate, they still come back to visit their teachers that they had 10, 15, 20 plus years afterwards. There's plenty of leadership roles for students in a variety of different ways. They work with our faculty to help nurture their own interest. If a student wants to and get involved in their own club in the past, we've had a club with a faculty sponsor for it. Everybody's on, you know, as far as gets on the stage starting in pre-K through 3, and positive classroom discussions take place in all disciplines. And with a smaller class, it's so much easier to have a classroom discussion, and everybody can be heard, and everybody's thoughts are respected as well. Okay, academics obviously are core areas, and we have about 15 AP classes. Some of them we don't offer every year, depending on interest, but in the subject areas, humanities, STEM, which would be your math and science. World languages, we offer French, Spanish, and Mandarin. Visual and performing arts, athletics, and physical education. And up next from our English department to talk to you about English in the upper school will be Dr. KICMAL.
Eileen, can you press unmute? I think you're still muted.
Sorry about the technical difficulty. The screen went blank for a minute. Can you see me now? And you can hear me. Wonderful. Sorry about that. Thank you again for attending. I want to start to talk about the classes in the English department, starting with world literature for 9th graders. Students in this class will read various novels with themes that they will be studying in world history. So we have some cross curriculum going on there. You'll see in all of our classes that in the English department that we focus on reading, writing, and critical thinking. So the next couple slides will just talk a little bit about that. So reading comprehension is critical to our goals in the reading department, but we're also going beyond, obviously, in the upper school and looking at the key plot elements with foreshadowing, climax, resolution, understanding all the elements of characterization, identifying those themes, and making real connections then with the themes to the world around them. And then students will really develop their skills of analysis. And again, that will be something that is on a continuum throughout their high school career. Writing, again, very important. Again, the strong connection between the two with reading and writing. They need to be able in their essays to write a clear thesis statement. That's the main idea of their work, and then organizing all of their main points in to separate paragraphs with support and elaboration, making sure they use textual examples from the reading to where they can set up those quotes, explain them, connect them to their pieces. And they also want to make sure that in the writing we talk about a variety of sentence style, word choice, and that there's an organizational flow with their sentence fluency. As they progress through their upper school career, critical thinking becomes more and more of an essential part in the English classroom. And we'll talk about that further as we look at some of the other classes. So the next class after 9th grade American Lit, which is 10th grade, here they're going to again be using all of these skills as they start to look at themes and concepts of American literature, starting at the roots of American Lit with Native American storytelling. Then as juniors, students will be having a choice to take Advanced Lit. Now, Advanced Lit really starts to get more into the critical thinking, as the Socratic discussion is very much a foundation for this class. This class really looks at exploring in a very open-ended seminar fashion issues raised by a wide range of fiction and nonfiction texts, and students really start with the fiction as juniors and work their way up to a lot of social justice issues as we look at Justice by Michael J. Sandel, and then get into books like Half the Sky. So we're really kind of working our way up in terms of the critical thinking, where they're synthesizing multiple arguments, perspectives, issues across all different kinds of sources. And as we are looking at all of the different novels in Advanced Lit, an inquiry project runs parallel in Advanced Lit. So we have all the reading and writing and critical thinking skills in the text, and then we are also, they get to pick a subject that they're really interested in, and we do a year-long inquiry project that culminates in a research paper and an oral presentation, and they'll really begin to, as they research, get into peer-reviewed sources, which is information that they really look into and dive into more in higher ed, but we really get them ready as juniors. Now, there's also AP Lang, Language and Composition, and AP Literature that students who are juniors can be recommended for if they don't take Advanced Lit, and this is the advanced placement courses. And in AP Language and Composition, they'll learn how to analyze and synthesize and examine text. And then in AP Lit and Comp, they get a deeper literary analysis through reading poetry and classic and contemporary texts. Seniors also, though, there are 4 electives that seniors can choose from, and you can see those in the next slide. And the 4 senior electives are speech, pop lit, creative writing, and major author study. And so each of these classes are a semester long. So you can see seniors really have a lot of choices here. They can take 2 of the 4 classes in speech. This is really going to help them in terms of their delivery with information, and it really at its core is about effectively communicating one's message with verbal and nonverbal communication. Creative writing is designed to give students a chance to be very creative in their expression with the writing medium. For popular literature or pop lit, students will be choosing 8 independent novels to read throughout the semester. And this is a really unique and wonderful opportunity for students to take ownership of their reading. They make a contract at the beginning of the semester, and then they will actually present these novels through book talks, presentations, essays. They do a form of a book report where they continue to work on their writing when they talk about these books, and then also one-on-one conferences with the instructor. And what's really nice about Pop Lit, say you have 10 to 12 students in the class, that's 80 to 96 novels that the other students are hearing about, and their repertoire is just that much bigger as a result because there's such a range. Students are required to pick some classic literatures in their contract. So it's a wonderful opportunity. And then major authors studies, students will be focusing on one specific author and reading many works by that author. They learn a lot of history and the context of where and how this author is writing, where they were coming from at the time. So again, having a lot of time to really dive into the material a little bit more. So wonderful senior elective courses there. And then finally, I just wanted to touch upon some of the additional English opportunities that the department offers. And I highlighted here yearbook, speech team, and newspaper. So yearbook is a year-long class that meets twice a week where the students then produce the school yearbook. So they are taking pictures, writing stories, they're on campus, they are really getting such a unique opportunity to be very hands-on in this journalistic class. And then speech team, this is an extracurricular activity that allows students to pick certain pieces and interpret and perform chosen material from anything from dramatic interpretation to humorous interpretation, duets. There's duet acting. There's so many different modes that students can pick from, and they actually then meet and have practice and then go to competition. So another wonderful opportunity. And finally, newspaper is a journalistic club for students who want to write about not only MPA community stories, but also current events. And we meet usually twice a month to go through, pick stories, edit. So that's also another wonderful opportunity in the English department.
Thank you so much, Dr. KICMAL. It was really,
of course.
really
Sorry about the technical difficulty.
Oh, that's okay. We heard, yeah, no. We were good. We heard you right after that. I'm going to have Mrs. Drown take the mic again. She's going to chat a little bit more about what makes our college counseling program so unique at MPA.
All right, so like I said before, I've been at MPA for 20 years, and I have not seen another college counseling program quite like ours at any other school. So we start the college process with students basically when they are freshmen. And there are things that happen during freshman year through our advisory program to kind of get students thinking about what are their skill sets, what do they enjoy doing, what do they think they want to do when they go to college and in their career and things like that. And then officially starting in their sophomore year, we offer college counseling courses that are mandatory. So it starts with College 101 in the spring semester of their sophomore year. And then College 102 is their junior year, and that's the whole junior year. And then we have College 103, which is for the 12th graders, and that is the entire year for 12th grade. Because we have small class sizes, you know, we aim to have about 40 students per grade level. We truly do offer one-on-one college guidance. The college counselor is responsible for writing the college essay about each student that will go along with their packet of information. And she does a really nice job in working with each student and each family to try to find the best fit for each student. One of the components of our college counseling program is what we call capstone projects. And this will be our third year that we are doing capstone projects. The idea behind the capstone project is for a student to find something about which they are passionate and that they want to go ahead and kind of make a difference with that thing. So for example, this past year, we had students who volunteered at Washington Smith Home, which is a retirement facility. We had students that helped out with the Olympics, Special Olympics program. It really was a variety of activities that students participated in that really focused on something that they were passionate about. And that all starts also in their sophomore year, that they identify what they want to do, and then they work for the next year or so in developing that project and accomplishing whatever goal they set for that capstone project. We also provide college essay and application support. So no student is left on their own, no family is left on their own to try and navigate this process by themselves. We offer a 16-week test prep course, which is built into the school day. As a teacher, what I personally enjoy most is the letters of recommendation process. So that process has already started for the graduating class of 2021. And I know all the teachers that are on here tonight have probably already been asked to write letters of recommendation. And the college counselor helps the students do that before they leave for the summer going into their senior year. So for me, I have a handful of essays that I know I'm responsible for writing. I've already started writing some of those. And it is truly an opportunity for me to shine the light on those students and convey what I know best about each student. And the college counselor does a great job of helping the student identify which teachers would be best in writing a letter of recommendation. So I really like that because it does show that we know the students on a personal level more than just what their grades are and what class we taught them in. We do get a really good view of the whole student there. Every year we are amazed by our students and the amount of scholarship money that they are able to accumulate. It's millions of dollars every year, which again is super impressive considering we have around 40 or less graduates per year. So they really do accumulate quite a bit of scholarship money for their college of choice. And then
I can add, like this year, seniors have accumulated over $4 million in scholarships too.
Yeah, so it really it's always impressive the number that we get. I'm always amazed by how much money they are able to collect for scholarship money. And then finally, over the past decade, our students have been accepted to 38 of the top 40 colleges and universities, which we are super proud of course. But I think most importantly, going back to, we really encourage students to find the college or university that best fits them. We want to work with that student and that family and really identify what would be best for them and not just push them towards one college or university. We do want them to be happy where they end up being and where they will get the most out of their college experience.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Ms. Zhao. Up next, we have Dr. Zhao. She's going to talk about our Global Studies program.
Thank you, Ellie. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Zhao. I'm the upper school Mandarin teacher and also director of the upper school Global Studies. I'm very happy to be here tonight to introduce our exciting upper school global learning program. Global leadership is one of the major characteristics of MPA. It is what we are. It is explicitly stated in our school mission and value statements. This is what we have in our website too. The next slide, please, Ellie. Different scholars define global skills in different ways. Today, I'm using Karl Popper's concept of elements of global IQ to introduce global studies in our upper school. Communication in other languages. In MPA, we have early acquisition of the world language beginning in pre-K. In upper school, we are not only teaching Latin-based Western languages, Spanish and French, but also teaching Eastern languages, Mandarin. Most of our upper school students take world language for the whole 4 years. Many of them also take more than one world language, such as Spanish and Mandarin, or Mandarin and French, a very good example of East-West balance. Comprehension of different people and cultures. One of the purpose and skills of global studies is to understand people from different backgrounds and different cultures. In MPA, we not only encourage our students to learn one or two world languages, but also appreciate and celebrate a variety of culture presented in our community. We have students Diversity Council, we celebrate Diwali for Indian culture and Lunar New Year for the East Asia culture every year. We have International Week every year, including an International Food Fair during the lunch and the International Week All School Assembly. During the Peace Day of 2019, some of our upper school students, including the middle school students, made paper crayons and exchanged them with another high school students in Berlin, Germany. All these activities use different medium to learn our world and to break down the walls between cultures. Hosting the international student at home is another way to comprehend another culture. We have families hosting international students for years, and we also have family hosting short-term exchange students. Project Week is a huge chunk of upper school global studies, so I will talk more about it in the next slide. Global learning is not limited to travels and just to all those activities, but happens every day in our classrooms in various subjects. I do not have time to give examples today, but if your children have chances to shadow in our classroom, they will tell you more. Service learning is another thing that we did well to promote global leadership. Ellie, we are still on last slide. Yes, thank you. So I'm at the last point here. Just to name a few that we did in the past for the service learning, we had students who went to Turkey and Africa in the summer and helped with medical volunteers for the local people. We had a student who went to China in the summer to volunteer in an orphanage. I led a group of students to a refugee center in Vienna, Austria during the project week to help review the children's activity room and play with the children living in the refugee center. We had another teacher who led a group of students to Thailand and help rebuild the local community after tsunami. In MPA, we encourage service learning in way to stretch students' comfort zones, bringing them into contact with others in need, and to foster a universal code of compassion. Next slide, please. Thank you, Ellie. Project Week, you can also call it Global Learners Week. In the past 20 years, MPA faculty and students have stepped on 6 continents and 35 countries. Unfortunately, we canceled all the trips this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Otherwise, we would have more countries to add on the list. It's an annual occurrence for the whole school. It usually happens the 3rd week in March, 1 week before the spring break. Project Week is a part of MPA's school curriculum. Therefore, it is required for everybody, both faculty and the students. The registration usually starts in September after school resumes. Project Week trips are educational-based adventure on local, national, and international levels. Our upper school faculty spend tremendous time doing research, making contacts, writing proposals, planning and organizing all the pre-trip and post-trip group studies. They are not family-guided touristic trips. They are carefully planned experiential learning experience and classroom extensions. Next slide, please. These are the trips that we had for 2019. Just want to give you a sample of what kind of trips that we could offer. So you can see we have both Chicago local, the US domestic, and also international one. Next slide, please. These are the trips that we planned for this year. But as I said, unfortunately, we have to cancel all of them. But still, teachers, students, we were excited about it, and we, especially our faculty members, works a lot on it. So as you can see, we still have 3 levels of, not 3 levels. We still have Chicago, local, domestic, and international trips. And for the Chicago local, we make curriculum connections. So you see science, you see wellness and health, You see arts, theater arts, and stained glass art. For the Los Angeles trip, we have service learning, and we also have the college visits in that trip planned. And also for the international trip, you can see that we have Ireland, and we are going to Ireland, France, and China, and the teachers do a lot of pre-trip studies, and we will do it again when everything, when it's okay to travel. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, no, sorry. You already got it, thank you. Through the different forms of global studies, students learn to compromise in conflicts created by difficulties in communication and comprehension, and build up the compassion to serve other people, not only the people that they are familiar with, but also the people who they might not understand at first, or who are very different from them. MPA's Global Studies program intends to build a bridge between the knowledge learned from the books inside the classroom and the real life experience, so the student can have a vision of the whole world, which I think is more important now than ever. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhao.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Mrs. Brown again. This time she's going to chat about our science department.
Okay, so this is my favorite part of the presentation, obviously. I am a science teacher, and I have had the opportunity to teach multiple topics in science. Currently, I teach physics and AP physics, but I have taught biology, AP biology, genetics, on and on and on. I really, really like science a lot. So I'm going to talk about the science and tech briefly at MPA. We have a requirement of 3.5 credits, but typically we have so many students that will graduate with at least 5 science credits. They just kind of eat them all up. They want as many as they can get, which is really fantastic. We strive in the science department to do inquiry-based learning, which is the total opposite of cookbook-style learning. Obviously, there are some labs and some topics for which we do have to offer kind of the cookbook style, because if you think of like a chemistry lab, there are certain things that we want students to avoid combining together. But a lot of the time, we try to encourage the students to get a little bit uncomfortable with the material and really challenge them to figure out the material on their own and in groups. And we're really trying to push them to make mistakes, ask questions of each other, and really collaborate with each other to figure out how do these principles of science work. Our small class sizes allow for differentiated instruction and peer collaboration. I would say that's true for all of our disciplines. One of the things that I really love about teaching at MPA is that, you know, in a class of 9, 10, 11, 12 kids, I am able to quickly assess in the class what is working and what is not working, and I can pivot right away and change things kind of a drop of a dime, just getting a feel for the class that's in front of me. Likewise, when you're putting kids in groups, you know, groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4, there's a lot of opportunity to kind of mix and match kids and really have them benefit from interaction with people that they might not normally pair up with on their own. As far as required courses for us, biology happens during the freshman year. It's a required course. Chemistry happens typically during the sophomore year required course. We do offer 3 AP sciences. That's AP Bio, AP Chem, and AP Physics 1. Real quick, AP Physics 1, the reason why we offer that AP Physics, because if you're familiar with the AP program, there's about 5 or 6 AP Physics courses that are offered. We offer AP Physics 1 because it is algebra-based, which means that we do not need students to have taken calculus in order to find success in AP Physics. So starting sophomore year, students can take an AP Biology course. The way that our curriculum is set up, this gives students the opportunity to take potentially all 3 AP courses by the time that they graduate. We also offer AP Computer Science and a required 9th grade Computer Science introduction course. The AP Computer Science course, we offered it for the first time this past year, and our numbers have definitely more than doubled for registration for next year. So we're really looking forward to the growth of that program. And then what I also think is super exciting about the science department is that we have a bunch of rotating electives, and that's really based upon student suggestions and interests. Just a sampling of what we've offered over the past few years: genetics, forensics, anatomy and phys, biomedical ethics, ecology, earth science, and the list actually does go on and on. What we really try to do as a science department is talk with our students, figure out what are they interested in, and how can we make that possible. So for example, anatomy and physiology happened because I had a bunch of students that just would not stop pestering me about it. So I finally just offered it, and we ended up having maybe 15 to 20 kids enrolled every single time. We actually have to turn people away from that class because it is so popular with the students. The next few slides are just going to be showing some examples of the classroom. So this particular image is of my AP Physics 1 students this past spring before the COVID-19 pandemic happened. So you can see they're actually doing a magnet Coulomb's law investigation. And this is a very good example of where I basically threw out all the materials on the table and I gave them the goal. I said, here's what we want to find out, and go ahead and try to do it. So you can see they're all in different stages of trying to figure out what to do in this problem. And I was just kind of sitting on the back for an hour and a half, just watching them go through it. Here's that same picture I showed earlier. Again, this is a physics class this time. This is another example of people or students that I kind of laid out the materials in front of them. And I said, okay, well, we're gonna be studying how collisions work. So here's your materials, go ahead and figure out how collisions work. So they were sent out in the hallway to do that. And here's an example of students in an AP biology class, and they were doing a really more difficult concept on chi-squared analysis, which is really a statistics concept, but it shows up all the time on AP Bio. And we were trying to make it more fun, so we took out some candies, and we're trying to see if the chi-square analysis worked with the different candies that we had. So again, another example of like, here's your stuff, try to figure it out. And then so the final picture, this is our earth science course, and they are proudly displaying their contraptions that they made. They made these things called earthquake shake towers. And what you can't see is that they had different items that they had to put on their structure. And then we made an earthquake shake table, and they had to make sure that their building did not destruct. So they're only given a certain amount of materials, and then they were to support bags of sugar, and thankfully all of their structures worked. They did a great job.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mrs. Brown. Now we're going to hear from Mrs. McAllister to talk about our math department.
Hi, everybody. I have been at MPA for the last 6 years now, and I'm in the math department. I currently teach Algebra 1, Algebra 1 Honors, as well as Algebra 2, College Algebra and Trig, and Numeracy. So I have a big list. We require 3 credits for graduation, but we recommend 4. Those credits that are required are Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and some of our students do come in as freshmen having already taken Algebra 1, and so then they go into a geometry level course. At the honors level, we have Geometry, Algebra 2, and Pre-Calc honors courses. And then we also offer AP classes for both AP Stats, AP Calc AB, and AP Calc BC. Other classes that are offered are College Algebra and Trig and Numeracy in the 21st Century. Numeracy in the 21st Century is kind of an interesting course that developed for students that wanted a 4th year of math but weren't as math oriented. So that's kind of an interesting class that a lot of kids like because there's an independent study element to that. We really try to incorporate a lot of technology into our math courses. All of the math classrooms do have smartboards, and the teachers do regularly use those to be able to present materials and have interactive materials that the students can interact with. We use Geometer's Sketchpad. We do a lot of instruction with calculators. The one most of us use is TI-84, but we certainly have students who come in with other calculators, and we work with them as to how to use all of the functionality of those to be able to be prepared to continue to use those as they go on into their college level courses. And we also use Desmos often. That is a web-based function that has just all sorts of applications that we can use to more visually demonstrate the concepts that we're trying to teach to those students. One of our big things that we also like to try to do is provide opportunities for doing math projects and applications. So it's not just about learning the math, but it's also about how can we do something with the math. There are some teachers who have used things like a picture of a bridge that doesn't quite match up and talking about how math is really an exact science, and you have to make sure that your measurements are correct because otherwise you end up with a bridge that doesn't connect in terms of engineering and some of those things. These three projects are some examples of projects that have been used in some of our classes. The one with the design sort of project, that is one from an Algebra 1 honors course where they were learning about studying linear equations, and they had to write the equations to create a geometric design and then color that. And so that was one of their projects. The one on the bottom that looks like a paper plate is a project from a class that was studying the unit circle. And this was a way to draw some parallels between what they'd already actually learned in geometry. That was in an Algebra 2 course to help them understand the connections between the math that they had already learned in the previous course of geometry with special triangles to unit circle. And then the last one up on the top with the SpongeBob, that's one of my favorites. That's actually from my college algebra and trig class. That class is focused a lot on understanding all different kinds of functions and what those look like and how you can change parts of those equations to create a certain visual in terms of what that looks like on a graph. And this is a culminating project of the year where students actually have to do an art project simply using equations to do that. One of the examples of a student that they turned in. One of the things that you can go into the next slide, but a couple of things I just want to mention about math that's very significantly different from my experience of being in a public school setting is because we have small class sizes, we really are able to work with students much more individually. I didn't include this in the slide, but one of the things we have at our school, we do have a peer tutoring program where students have an opportunity both to, as an upper school student, tutor students in middle school, as well as upper school students. If they have completed Algebra 2 or higher, they have the opportunity to peer tutor some of those younger students, like in the freshman and sophomore level classes. And so that gives them an opportunity to use their own skills to sort of help out some of the other students. And that's another neat program that we have, I think, at our school. Emily mentioned earlier, Ms. Drown mentioned earlier, the ICT Math competition team. That is one of the teams that is based in the math department. And we have made it to state the last 3 years and done very well. Not everyone's pictured in these pictures. Sometimes the students don't all get in the picture at the time when we're taking them, but we have done very well. We've had students that have placed first in the state. And that's been a really fun thing to participate in the last couple of years. The other one that isn't pictured here is we also have a WISE program, which is a science and engineering program. They actually have tests in biology, chemistry, computer science, engineering, English, math, and physics. I think I hit them all, but that's another opportunity for students to participate in STEM-related teams at the competitive level, and we've been successful in both of those, and so that's another way that they can do a little bit more and extend their math learning at MPA.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Ms. McAllister. And then our last person, last but definitely not least on the panel, I want you to hear from one of our students, Rachel. She gave up one of her summer nights here to log in and chat with you about her MPA experience. And she's a rising 12th grader. So Rachel, I'll let you take it from here.
Hi, my name is Rachel Shepard. I've been at MPA since 3-year-old preschool, so I know my way pretty well around the school. I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite things about MPA. The first thing I would say is teacher approachability. So just being able to go up to your teachers and feel comfortable enough to go to them outside of class and just talk to them about a problem you're having or just something you might need help with, or even just having a conversation with them, asking them how their day's going. I feel like that might be different from other larger schools, not having that personal connection with your teacher. So I really enjoy that about MPA. The second thing I would say that I really like is the student involvement. You're able to be involved in many things and also start other clubs as well. So if there's not something that's presented at MPA that you enjoy, you always have the opportunity to start it, which I think is very cool. Personally, one of my favorite things I'm involved in is I've been director of a student-led dance show called Dance for Life, which raises money for HIV and AIDS awareness. And I've been able to work with other students who dance and other students who've never even danced a day in their life before as well. And also coordinating a teacher dance too, which involves the teachers in the show. So I think that's one of my favorite things at MPA. And then lastly, I would say project week trips. It gives you an experience that not everyone can say that they have, and you're also learning outside of the classroom. My favorite project week trip was in 2019. I went to Germany with Dr. Zhao and another teacher, Mr. Ellis, and other students, and it was a homestay, so we stayed with families in Germany. And then this past September, they came here and they stayed with us, and we took them around Chicago. So it's just a really unique experience and something unlike my friends at other schools could say that they've done. So those are just some of my favorite things about MPA.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Rachel. And then in wrapping up, Ms. Drown, would you like to close us out with our final slides here?
Yep, for sure. So I am also the Service Council Advisor. So we do have a pretty big emphasis on service, like Mr. Drahazl mentioned earlier in the presentation. So we have over 20,000 service hours performed by MPA students this past year. So even though the graduation requirement is 80 hours total, we have students that will graduate with 300, 400, 500 service hours, and that's just the ones that they actually report to us. We know that they're doing many more things that they just don't report to us. There are service opportunities through Student Council, through Service Council. We also offer 2 all-school service days, one in the fall semester and one in the spring semester. And we try to give a variety of opportunities for students so that if there's people that like to help out children, we have that opportunity. If there's people that like to work outdoors, we have that opportunity. If there's people that like to bag up food and just work in a warehouse, we have that opportunity as well. It also is a good chance for students to experience something different. So maybe they don't know if they like working with little kids. This is a perfect opportunity to see if they do like working with little kids. We have opportunities through our assemblies and our special programs that many of the teachers have already talked about. We do supply drives for our local community, including Maple Morgan Park Food Pantry and a bunch of others. And our job as teachers, we are helping students to make their best choices, and also, most importantly, I think, helping them recover from any poor choices that they have made. We try to make sure that it's a safe place to make mistakes. You know, high school is it's not the end of the world, that it's okay to make mistakes. We are preparing them for the next step, which is college, where stakes get a little bit higher. And then finally, what we promise, I can say with 100% truth, honesty here, we are all experts in our fields. I have never met a collection of colleagues that have been so passionate about their discipline and have been so well versed in it, so knowledgeable. It's really an honor to work with my colleagues in all their different disciplines. They just amaze me every day with what they know and how they're able to share that knowledge with our students. We also enjoy teaching upper school students. They are fun. I like that we can be sarcastic with them, can kind of give them a hard time, but then like Rachel was saying, like we are approachable. They know that we care. We really want to help them make their best decisions. Like I said before, we're a safe place to make mistakes. We are invested in your child's successes as much as you are proud of your student for doing X, Y, and Z. We are also just as proud and kind of feel their accomplishments as part of our accomplishments and as well. And then through all of it, we will be kind and fair. We really, really do have your child's best interest at heart. And it's a pleasure to work with them every day. I know I can speak for everybody on the panel and everybody else who's not on the panel that we really missed them this past fourth quarter, and we're looking forward to being with them again. Nothing can replace the in-person connection that we have with our students.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Drown. Just wrapping up here from the admissions team, we would love for you guys to check out our website. If you haven't yet already, we do have a virtual tour of campus. You can see some screen grabs of that, but it's interactive. So you can tour, you know, from the safety and comfort of your computer, our beautiful 20-acre campus. You can pop inside all of the 5 buildings, see some video, see some classroom snapshots as well. And then there's also an opportunity there to click and get a phone call so you can talk to either me or Miss Yvonne about those next steps in the admissions process. And I think everybody who had any questions in the chat, it looks like those are all resolved for the evening. So if there's nothing else that we need to cover, I'd like to just thank you all for tuning in tonight, and definitely please feel free to reach out. You can reach us at admissions@morganparkacademy.org, or just click through that website, like I said, to schedule a phone call, and we'd be happy to give you a call. All right, well, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Thank you to my lovely panel. I miss seeing all of you in person as well. Can't wait till fall, and I'm looking forward to talking to you all soon again. Thank you so much.